Good morning, Year 3. It's Miss Callahan here with your literacy lesson on Thursday the 25th of February 2021. Please write the date and today's learning objective, which is to expand sentences, in your literacy book now. Pause the video if you need more time to do this. In today's Spag warm-up, we're continuing with articles. Can you remember what an article is? Could you give an example of the two different types of articles and when you should use them? An article is a or an. A goes before words that begin with consonants. For example, a bat. Bat begins with a B, which is a consonant. A cap. C is a consonant. A doll. D is a consonant. An needs to be used for words that begin with vowel sounds. For example, an apple. A is a vowel. An elephant. E is a vowel. An olive. O is a vowel. Here we have three pictures: elephant, ball, and hat. Which word is the odd one out, and can you explain why? Trying to think about your knowledge on articles. In your literacy book, write a sentence that tells me one of the words, elephant, ball or hat, is the odd one out because, and explain your reason why. Pause this lesson while you do this and press play when you're ready for the answer. Hopefully you will have said that elephant is the odd one out because it begins with a vowel sound, E, and it needs an as an article, an elephant. Ball and hat would have a ball, a hat. Are there any exceptions to the rule? Let's have a look at these words. Which one is the odd one out? We've got umbrella, unicycle and umpire. We can see they begin with U, which is a vowel. So an umbrella, an unicycle, an umpire. One of those words doesn't sound quite right. Unicycle is the exception to the rule. You would say a unicycle is difficult to ride, not an unicycle is difficult to ride. This is because, although unicycle begins with a vowel, U, the sound is not a vowel sound. Unicycle makes a Y sound, and Y is of course a consonant. Therefore, it's important to remember that we need to use an before words that start with a vowel sound. For example, elephant begins with an E, an elephant. Umbrella begins with an U sound, an umbrella. Here is another exception. We've got an hour, which begins with a H. H is a consonant. However, the H is silent, an hour. So it begins with a vowel sound. These exceptions might be a little bit tricky, but I know that we can do them. Today's Spag challenge, you're going to choose your challenge and look at your words. You need to decide whether they need an A or an. And for an extra challenge, can you put them into a sentence of your own? In your literacy book, you need to write the challenge that you are doing. For example, you would write Spicy Spag Challenge. Your word with your article in front of it. For example, an hour. Your second word with an article in front of it, and then a sentence with both words in. Please pause the video to give yourself time to do this, and then press play to continue with the lesson. This morning our learning objective is to expand sentences. But why should we expand sentences? Have a look at an example here. An aeroplane crashed. That's quite a short sentence. Does it give us much detail? No, it doesn't. An aeroplane crash is quite a big dramatic event. And this sentence is quite boring. It doesn't give us any details of where it happened, why it happened, how it happened. It's just telling us that an aeroplane crashed. Here I've taken the sentence, the aeroplane crashed, and expanded it. All of a sudden, the doomed aeroplane fell out of the sky and crashed with a thud into the beautiful tropical island. I've used all of a sudden, which is an adverb, adding information of when it happened. The doomed, I've used an adjective to describe the aeroplane. I've said what happened. It fell out of the sky and crashed with a thud into the beautiful tropical island. I've also told you where it happened. Which sentence is better? The aeroplane crashed or this expanded sentence? I think we'll all agree that this one gives much more detail and paints more of a picture in your mind about what had happened. Here is another sentence, one that I chose yesterday in my internal monologue. I had a fun adventure. How could I expand that to give more detail? Can we think about who had a fun adventure? What was the adventure? Where was the adventure? How could you expand this simple sentence to make it more engaging and informative? Here's my attempt. In outer space, so I've already answered where, Tony had a fun adventure with his granddad, I've told you who, while battling an evil troop of aliens. I've told you what they were doing. By expanding this sentence, we've made it much more engaging. Can you think of a way that we could expand sentences? We could use conjunctions. I know our classes are getting really good at using our conjunctions. We have our coordinating conjunctions, fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And we've been looking at using some subordinating conjunctions, such as if, since, as, when, although, while, after, before, until, and because. If you look back to my sentence, you'll notice that I used while as a conjunction to add some extra information of what Tony and his granddad were doing. It's important we choose our conjunctions carefully because they change the sentence in different ways. Let's watch a quick video about this.
To join together or show contrast, using a conjunction is where it's at. Using conjunctions when you write will make your paper dynamite. In your mind's phrases, sentences, words, I'll walk the dog and feed the birds, but shows differences you may know. You were invited, but you can't go. To join together or show contrast, using a conjunction is where it's at. Using conjunctions when you write will make your paper dynamite. Or gives choices, what should I do? Go to the park or go to the zoo? If as conditions you will see, I'll go to the park if you come with me. show contrast. Using a conjunction is where it's at. Using conjunctions when you write will make your paper dynamite. Conjunctions add variety to the mix when simple sentences need a fix. And yet, or if, therefore, but, nevertheless, however, thus, because. To join together or show contrast. Using a conjunction is where it's at. Using conjunctions when you write will make your paper dynamite.
There we saw some ways that conjunctions could be used to expand sentences. However, conjunctions affect the sentence in different ways. Here I've got a sentence. Tony didn't want to be left with Grandad, and I've added 3 different conjunctions to the end to expand the sentence. The first conjunction I chose was because. How could I expand this sentence using because? Tony didn't want to be left with Grandad because he thought Grandad was boring. This has joined the sentence with another sentence, adding more detail, explaining why he didn't want to go. The next conjunction I chose was but. Tony didn't want to be left with Grandad, but he had no choice. By using a different conjunction, I've changed the sentence in a different way. I've ended up with 3 completely different sentences using the same sentence starter, but different conjunctions and different ways to expand it. Could you choose another conjunction to add to the end of the sentence and expand it in a different way? On to the main task for today. Blue group, you need to look at these sentences and put them in order. And for your challenge, you've got 2 boring sentences that need expanding. Green group, you've got 4 sentences that I want you to expand to tell me who the sentence is about, what is happening, and where it is happening. Just like we did before, where we turned this sentence, I had a fun adventure, and we expanded it to in outer space, Tony had a fun adventure with his granddad while battling an evil troop of aliens. I've taken the sentence and I've said who it was about, what was happening, and where it was happening. You need to do the same for these 4 sentences, taking inspiration from what happened in Taking Flight. Yellow group, you've got 6 sentences that need expanding. Again, you need to give details of who, what, and where for each sentence. You should be using conjunctions to do this. And red and orange group, you've got the same 6 sentences, but I would like you to try and challenge yourself to add even more detail. Not just expanding with who, what, and where, but could you tell me when it happened, why it happened, how it happened? Can you use a range of conjunctions to expand your sentences? Could you use adverbs to explain how something happened? These sentences need to be written in your literacy book and then expanded to add as much detail as you can. Creating engaging sentences. Remember your punctuation of capital letters, full stops. You might choose to use some commas or exclamation marks. In your book, whichever group you're in, we should see some well-written sentences that have been expanded to engage me and Miss Dyson as the reader. When you have finished your sentences, you have got a chilly challenge to complete. choose either mild, spicy or hot. You are going to write 3 sentences of your own and then use different types of word class to expand these sentences. The mild challenge, we want you to use conjunctions. There are lots of examples: and, when, before, while. Spicy challenge, we want you to use adverbs to expand 3 sentences. For example, then, next, therefore, frequently. And for the hot challenge, we want you to use prepositions to expand 3 sentences. Above, below, under, beside. So that you can expand sentences by answering questions: what, who, where, how, why. If you have any questions, you can email your teachers at the Year 3 email address. Keep working super hard. We're really proud of you and we can't wait to see you back in school, hopefully soon.